Hello, Remi. Welcome. Could you please just talk about yourself, about what the Hugging Face does, and we will go straight into the subject afterwards.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the invitation. So I'm Remi. I'm leading the AI for robotics project at Hugging Face. It started 7 months ago. It's located in Paris, at the Paris office of Hugging Face. And so Hugging Face, it's the leading company on open source AI. It's a platform on which you can host data sets and models for free.
Mm-hmm.
It accelerated the development of AI, of natural language processing, vision, and you can. It is connected to cloud services, so you can also pay some addition to benefit from huge training capabilities and more storage. And
Okay. And on your Twitter, it says you're working at Le Robot. What is Le Robot?
yeah, so so Le Robot, it's a fully open source project to accelerate the development of AI for robotics, and also to make it more accessible for everyone outside robotics, outside AI. And it contains a lot of tools to connect any robots to a laptop, for instance, using the cameras of the laptop, and to start recording some data. You just control the robot and you try to automate some task. Can, for instance, folding clothes. And this data, you can create data sets of those behaviors, and then train neural networks to control the robot autonomously.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And as you said, so Hugging Face has been the open source source for many years now. Have you seen the rise in the interest for robotics lately, or has it been around for some time, especially with AI now integrated in this robotics?
Yeah, so I think it was always around. People were super happy to see robots in the movies or in videos.
Video games,
yeah exactly. But since, I would say, 1 year, it's becoming real.
Okay.
So before, there were certain techniques to control the robots that allows for even controlling airplanes or rockets. But now those techniques change or are evolving using AI. And the same way you can control an AI with language and ask it to generate an image and tune it to really personalize the image, to guide the AI to reach exactly the image you want. Now it's becoming possible to do it with robotics.
Okay.
And it started, like, I would say, really intensely 1 year ago.
Okay.
With a lot of people from the AI vision side that are switching to robotics.
Okay. Okay. Because so most of the AI that is available to everyone today, it's mostly digital. Basically, you go on platforms, you generate funny images, and then you ask them some questions about your diet or whatever. So it's mostly digital. How can we implement AI into robotics? Like, what becomes possible through this integration?
Yeah, so it's really applying the same techniques to robotics, but instead of generating languages, like a sequence of words, you generate a sequence of action control for the robot. So compared to natural language, to text, we have a massive amount of data in internet.
Yeah.
And for robotics, it's a bit more challenging. And that's this challenge that we want to address with the robot. It's to make it extremely easy to record data and to share the data. And also, and to add to this project the state-of-the-art algorithm and AI from the best research lab in the world, and totally open source, easy to understand, easy to use, on a laptop computer.
Okay. And so we have seen the natural implementation is quite important for robotics, because when we imagine robotics, it's basically they help us in the everyday life. And today we can ask Alexa to set a timer or do something for us, to add a shopping list or whatever. But how does it translate to robotics? Like, how can you implement it in the robotics? And are there any actors that have already done it? And if you have any examples of it?
Yeah. So we use very similar architectures that are neural architectures that are based on transformers that powered ChatGPT and Claude and so it's a very general architecture because you can use as input various modalities like language, sound, video, and you mix everything and you can output anything. And so in this context, it's the behavior, the sequence of action. We are already seeing from the research community, from academia, but also some open source private lab, this capability in robotics. For now, the robots are still expensive, so you can just ask them, okay, please, robot, grasp me this glass of water. And it will grasp it and bring it to you, move around the apartments. You can ask it to sort the trashes, like many various actions. But for now, it's still expensive robots. They are still expensive robots. And our project wants to make it very easy and affordable to everyone. And that's why we also have this aspect. We focus on hardware. We have people also creating very cheap robots that are actually quite powerful with new techniques. And we even have an arm that costs 100 euros connected to your computer.
Yeah.
And you can use the same technique to control it, and possibly with language.
Yeah, because this is something you talked about on your Twitter. I think it was last week. You said that you're making a robot which is affordable under $150, so 100 euros, as you said.
Yeah.
So my question would be, what is the purpose of this robot? Like, because you cannot use it for everyday life, right? So as a person, like, if I want to buy this robot, I can basically put it in my living room, and it will exist there. But what is the purpose of having this robot at your house, implementing AI into it? Is it basically training, or is there any other use cases for that?
Yeah, so we are just noticing the beginning of it. That's why we want to focus on a simple arm. It has 6 motors. You can actually have a second arm that you use to control the first arm and to teach it to do the task. And we want it so cheap because it's not, it's meant for students, it's meant for hobbyists who are interested by AI for robotics. Yeah. And also it's meant for startups which want to learn more about the technology and possibly invest in more capable and a bit more expensive robots. So the same technique that you can learn and apply on an affordable robot, you can apply them on very capable robots. And that's what we were able to show. Especially by robots, I mean a arm, but you can also have two arms. With two arms, you can open a bottle, you can fold t-shirts, you can do many things. Then you can also have a mobile base, so just some wheels that could, you can also control them very similarly. It's just another motor. And you can even imagine drones. You can imagine little submarines, you know, and even cars. Yeah. And those, like the self-driving cars, they are controlled with exactly the same type of algorithm that we have in the robot.
So, for myself, not being able to read the code behind the AI, and the question I would have to ask is, what is the difference between implementing an algorithm which tells the machine what to do and implementing AI? What are the key differences between the two of those?
Yeah, so our project has many building blocks, and it's a community-driven project. Mm-hmm. So you can improve any part of it. You can be a simple user that doesn't know how to code or AI, and you can just control the robot and create data and try to automate behaviors at your place. So you can be a simple user of it, because we want to propose the best AI out there. So you don't have to think about which algorithm or if I know how to code. No, you just take the best. But then for the power of open source is that you are very close to the research, because researchers, they use our tools. Mm-hmm. For instance, at Stanford, they released some papers, and they put the implementation of their new AI algorithm in the robot. And so for researchers, it's also very powerful, because they can just focus on a little building blocks, upload it, and then everyone has access to it.
Mm-hmm. So during this day, the event, and like the multiple people that come in, we talk about the various sectors that can benefit AI. And so what is interesting is because you're the only one who we are discussing robotics with. And so which sector do you think would need the most AI implemented into robotics? Like it can be health, it can be like self-driving cars or whatever. But which sector do you think could benefit the most from the research which you are doing, and like all the implementations in the years to come?
I think pretty much all the sectors. Okay. I think there is a worldwide need of automations. Mm-hmm. And it's infinite, I would say. So you can think about doctors. They are that practice surgery. They are already roboticists. They can even remote control some very powerful and precise robots to do the surgery. The surgery is also recorded through videos.
Which are used then for training the models?
I mean, for now, it's just used just to see, to have a better view of when you do the surgery. Mm-hmm. But you could imagine that those data could be recorded, and then you could train a very powerful AI model on all the surgery on a specific kind, and try to automate it. Doing the surgery, it's extremely expensive. Not a lot of people have access to this. We are really lucky in France, but it's not the case everywhere else. So you can imagine this kind of automation, the impact that it can have. Mm-hmm. Of course, right now it's not the case, but maybe we can imagine that in a few years we can start by automating some parts of the surgical intervention. So that's just for health. Then in industry also, I think there is already a need. A lot of the jobs the need in terms of jobs is not fulfilled even today, because the salary, the price is too high, and we could imagine that a lot of goods and services could be invented using some automations. And I think the main sector right now, that the first one where we clearly see the application of AI for robotics, is the transportation. I don't know if you went to Silicon Valley, but self-driving cars are already functioning very well there. Like you can come in a car without a driver.
Yeah, basically, like you order an Uber, which is a self-driving car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And actually, the benchmark for safety, I mean, it will improve. It improved the safety on the road a lot, because the benchmark is just you need to drive quite reasonably well, and you don't need to. I mean, an AI doesn't drink. Pay attention all the time, has many cameras all the time around, checking for anything, and it has a number of hours of training that is totally unmatched compared to a human. So it has seen crazy situations that you could not even dream of, you know. And it learned how to manage those situations.
Yes.
So so many various. I think it has the power to, like AI for robotics, will power a next wave in automation and industrial revolution.
But I think another question that comes to mind when we hear like about all this implementation in general is the ethics of AI. So we know that AI is trained on thousands, millions of models and situations, etc., etc. But if you think about the choice game where, for example, you have a train and you have a choice to pull the lever, and so it goes either directions. So let's say on the one hand you have 6 people, and on the other one you have 1 person, right? And so as humans, we are kind of able to find who's responsible in this type of situation, who is at fault. And so how do you manage it with AI being implemented into robotics? So, for example, as you say, for example, for a driving car, if a driving car hits a person, who is responsible? Are these the developers? Are this the AI company? Are this like the people who are on the road or whatever? So I understand the fact that AI doesn't judge, AI doesn't drink. It takes instant decisions based on what it has been trained on. But so how do we implement ethics in this kind of scenarios where AI can be responsible for the life of people or for some decision making which it has to do when it's on the road?
Yeah, I mean, ethical concerns are extremely important, and we focus on them a lot. But first, you need to keep in mind that the AI can slow down earlier. So you don't even have the choice of either you crash on a certain person or on another one. So if you can prove that statistically, like medications, that you can reduce the number of fatalities, then the ethical, the ethical choice is, of course, to go for the AI automation on this aspect. But then. What I'm concerned about 2 other ethical questions. The first one being people losing their jobs because of automation, as it has been always the case. In the past, people were losing their jobs because of automation, but there were a transition in society with new jobs being created. Our farmers. The one in at the Middle Age, they don't exist anymore. We have tractors, we have a lot of automation for farming, and the same effect the same dynamic will be applied in all the areas where AI will automate things, but it might arrive fast.
Yeah,
and so. we need to build a new kind of societal contract where the society can support people that lose their job because of automation, help them to switch, or just help them if they cannot switch.
But I think we will still have the growing needs of engineers and like mechanics engineers and then developers as well. So really technical jobs, right?
Yeah.
But so, for example, if you take, once again, talking about self-driving cars, these are Ubers, and anyone who can drive a car today can become an Uber driver, for example. If we look further, and if we take into consideration that AI doesn't judge, there are less accidents, there are less problems with AI and robotics on the road, then we can say that in some future we will have only self-driving cars, which will become with time more and more affordable, which will become less and less expensive, and like we will be able to match the production of these cars, right? So the people who might have become Ubers, who do not specifically have the education to become an engineer, then what types of jobs could this be, for example? Because I don't really know what, like, towards where they could go for this type of job. So I think it's a concern that we have. We are still far away from it now, especially in Europe, because we don't have self-driving cars here yet. But I think that it will be something that has to be managed through education and by pivoting people towards something where they have to go through a more technical road in order to stay relevant in the society.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, in Silicon Valley, it's also sometimes crazy when you go into a Uber and you start talking to the person. He or she can tell you, I'm actually learning about AI. I want to create this project. And so I think those people they are aware of this. They a lot they are doing. I mean, a lot of them have the will and see their interest in switching to other more in other areas that correspond that they want, basically. So and also keep in mind that the more automation you have, the more industry you can create, the more goods and services you can create, and so there will be more jobs opportunity as well. So it's just the society will become richer and richer.
Yeah.
So
But I think it might also create more discrepancies in the society itself by the middle class just like ceasing to exist, and then we have two types of the population: the tech guys and then all the other people. But
I mean, that's why you need a social contract. That's why you need to improve the our institutions also to better correspond, like to add and to enforce kind of rules and protections in this new evolving society.
But don't you think that we are kind of late to that? Because when you look at the growth of AI and the place it has taken in like basically everyday lives and like in all the companies that are implementing AI now, when you look at our society, our educational system hasn't changed. We haven't like really embraced the whole thing, and I guess for our generations it's kind of fine still, because we can implement AI, we can understand it, but for older generations, for example, if we think of our parents, my mom would never use an AI today because she would understand she struggles with the computer. And so I think that younger generations that are still in school now, they don't have classes on AI, they don't have anything where they are learning about it. While it still might take a huge place in our lives, our education hasn't matched the progress that we are having and we're witnessing.
Yeah, I mean, still, for me, it's still debatable. Like, for instance, my parents were not used to the computer. Now they can achieve much more with ChatGPT. And the next version of those AI, by the way, Hugging Face hosts a lot of open source AI. All the new labs are hosting their model on the Hugging Face, but you can just take one of the model of Hugging Face, and very soon you will be just able to use language, and it will control your computer to achieve what you want. So the barrier for using a computer will be much lower, and I think that at this point your parents will be able to benefit from it. So I think it's evolving, it's changing. Also, a lot of students or school like young people, they are also they are born in this new society with those new technology, and they understand it also. They have a more intuitive understanding of it. So yeah, I'm not too worried about it, but I think there are progress to be made, of course, and the institutions are always a bit late, and it's about us to close this gap, to make the institutions function better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. So last month we saw the Optimus reveal during the Tesla event in the US. We have seen the Optimus being a barman and like talking to people, going around. And so you have worked on Optimus while you were at Tesla. So I would ask a question which is not about your previous work, but what are the challenges by working on this type of project, and like what are the biggest challenges in the years to come for these robots? Because I think it was this week that Elon Musk said that it would be the price would be between $20,000 and $25,000 by 2040, something like that. So it's still costly. It's like a really nice car. But besides the cost for the population, what are the other challenges that this product might face?
Yeah. So I really enjoyed this show. It was quite interesting. Like the first time you see a humanoid robot in this environment, outside the lab, with people around it that are not, I mean, like just excited people, you know. And of course, all of it was not fully autonomous yet. It's just, to showcase the potential of it. An early demo, an early feeling of what it could look like. Of course, it's the vision of one company, and what we want with the robot is to empower, to power a lot of startups, a lot of companies in various areas of the world. That can and those companies could propose their own vision of what robotics could be, a vision that's more that may be more tuned to their region in the world. Maybe in China they have their own view of what automation and what a robot could be. In Europe, maybe in Japan, it's totally different. And so I think there is a need for it. It's like not just one leading company that will own all the market. There are so many ways and need for this automation that I think a lot of company could develop in this area. Then the biggest challenge, it's the data, and that's also something that we want to focus on. the fact that we want to share data as a community to understand what are the needs in terms of automation, what people want to automate, what is possible to automate even today. So there is this. There is also to simplify the engineering tools. Most of it, I mean, for those who know, most of the very efficient tools were written in C++, which is quite difficult to learn. And in AI, most of the people are using Python, a much simpler language. And so our project, it is all in Python. And this is a totally game changer, because now a lot of people can understand the code and install it very easily. And that was also one of the challenge. And then there is the safety challenge. That's the third very ethical concern. And the way we participate to that is that since our project is totally open source, it is transparent. You can read the code, understand deeply how it works, and we want to power safety research. The power of open source it's to be close to research. If you have a private lab which doesn't publish, you cannot be as close as research as you can be. So that's also one of the power of this project.
And do you think that Europe still has a role to play in the robotics and AI sector? Because I think we have talked about Tesla, we have talked about OpenAI, we have talked about other companies, but they all come from the US. Then we can see the manufacturing. It takes place in Asia most of the time. So what role can Europe still play in this field?
So it's a totally new field. And with projects like Le Robot, it's becoming very easy to switch to robotics. So as I mentioned, many different needs. So there will be a need for many European companies as well. There is safety concern. So and also ownership concern. So I'm pretty sure that Europe has a chance, can even lead, because there is strong researchers, European researchers in robotics already. And there is also how do you deploy the technology? You need to deploy it and to make it accessible and to deploy it in a certain society. So another actor, international actor from another nationality, might not have the right understanding of the European society to deploy robots and automation. So I think Europe totally has a chance.
Okay, and as we talk about robotics, I think it's a fair subject to talk about the future of humanity itself. And I think one of the questions that I would have is the fact that AI and code is implemented by humans that can have certain biases. And so you talked a lot about open source. So do you think this would be the solution to exclude the biases that we might have that might be implemented into robotics and AI?
Yeah, totally. It's like the transparency, also being close to research, so that a lot of researchers can find those biases and use also their finding to improve the open source AI. I think those biases are really. We need to focus on them, but it's not the biggest challenge that we will never solve. I think as soon as we discover one, we can easily fix it by adding more data, by changing the algorithm a bit, the training. So I think there is totally hope for it, and it's just a matter of more work.
Yeah. And today, as we said, robotics are quite expensive to implement. Even now, if you have like the solutions like a robot where you can have something affordable for households where they actually want to implement robotics and AI, this might not be something that is affordable. So my question would be, do you think it will ever become so? And the second one is, what do you think will be the first versions of robotics and AI implemented in like a normal family, in a normal house that we might see?
So first, robots are changing. Using previous tools, we had to build physical model of the robot and its environment. So we had to focus on very simple robots. Maybe some robots that have expensive motors, very heavy, to be extremely precise. But we are switching to a new type of robots, one that we can only control with AI, one that might have smaller and less precise motors, maybe some links, like some kind of tendons. It's called tendon drive. That's and it brings a lot of power, a lot of efficiency. Of course, this type of robots, they are yet to be created, but we can see some hints of this development, and they are extremely cheaper and affordable. For instance, we are actually building an extension of our 100 euros arm. It's an arm with fingers using tendon drive, and it costs 300 euros, and it can lift 20 kilo. So, and it's just the beginning, So I'm really not too worried about this, about the fact that the price will go be cheaper and cheaper, and also the scale at which you can produce those robots. You can do some economy of scale, and that's another aspect. So then the task that you can automate at home, the first task I will automate, that would be my proof of concept. It would be like taking care about laundry and like I'm spending so much time. and I think it speaks to everyone. And this type of task, before you had to physically model the clothes.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely difficult. It's very costly to model. But with AI, you don't need this.
Yeah.
You just show a few examples, and you learn to fold the clothes.
Yeah.
And if you miss something, the robots can generalize and take over and redo, and fix the. Yeah. So this, I don't know exactly when, but we are going to focus on this next year. And
on folding clothes.
Like automating anything at our place, and I think it's totally reachable.
It brings you motivation as well, because you will have a solution.
Yeah, but it's like, if this can work, you show that you show the potential of it. And then there is also an aspect which I think is funny regarding manufacturing. Okay, is like, what we want to do is our very affordable arm. It can still take a few hours to assemble.
Mm-hmm.
So we are trying to simplify our arm. But if we are able to learn how to assemble a new arm with our robotics arm, then it demonstrates the power and the fact that we can apply it in manufacturing.
Yeah.
And also we can share this pattern of mini factory.
Mm-hmm.
We can open source it, and other people in other parts of the world can reproduce it. and assemble their own arm and give them to their friends or at their school or whatever. And that's you can see the potential of this technology. The fact that if we successfully create a mini factory, we can scale at an international and massive worldwide scale. And so that's why it's so important. I think this project, Le Robot, is so important, and it's so important that people who don't know about robotics or AI try to get the interest of this new type of technology and automation. Yeah.
I think the last question I would have for you is, what do you need in order to go even further to succeed in this type of field? Do you need more researchers, more technology, more affordable parts? What are the needs for this industry to grow and to develop in the years to come?
Yeah, I think it's more visibility, more interest of people. Also, in our last hackathon, so we organized an hackathon in Toulouse over the weekend. We assembled 50 arms. We collectively recorded some data sets. It was just about putting some cubes, like picking up some cubes, putting them one on top of each other, tasks that were thought to be very difficult, not achievable in a weekend, but we did it collectively. And so this hackathon, all the participants were coming from every part of the world. But there were still 10% of women. So I think that's that's very important, because this technology will be quite central in the coming years, I think, and we need more visibility from every part of the society, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So next time, we'll try to do our job to reach out also to the people that could be interested and that we're missing at this hackathon.
Okay. And so where can we find you? Where should people get in touch with you if they want? This is your time, your spot.
So the Robot project, it's on GitHub. Mm-hmm. So you can type github.com /lerobot, LEROBOT. And so you will find a lot of resources, a lot of examples how to get started. You don't need a robot. We have a simulation. And we have a Discord channel. There is more than 2,000 people on Discord that can help you as well if you have any questions or issues. We really want to have a heartwarming community for new people who join. You can find me on Discord, of course, so don't hesitate to send me a message. And also, you can find my email, Remi Cadene. You find
on your website.
My website and my email. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It was an interesting conversation.
And maybe lastly, we are going to organize more hackathons, especially in our new office in Paris, so that people can try those arms. And we will try. Many people reach out to us to organize hackathon in their universities or in their cities, and I think that's quite promising to get more people interested about what we are doing in AI for robotics.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Remi.